HQ presented by the United States Marine Corps as we tick a little bit closer to kickoff. We're only 3 hours away. It is midday here in Los Angeles, and it's time to get some props with our experts. Let's take a look at what the betting public is betting the most right now. The top props by tickets at Caesars Sportsbook. It's always the coin toss leading the way, and I like that because there's no juice on that whatsoever. It's plus 100 both ways. Tails is the favorite right now, or Tails is the favorite for you, the better. More bets on tails than on heads. Rams first drive field goal attempt. That's the best in-game bet right now, 4-1. Bengals first drive field goal attempt plus 430. Our Pete Prisco and a lot of our experts have liked both of those bets this season. And how about that, or this week? Odell Beckham Jr., first touchdown scorer, 8-1. That's the fifth most popular bet right now at Caesars Sportsbook. Chris Hassel coming to you live from SoFi Stadium. I got Pete Prisco here with me. Todd Fuhrman joining us live from Las Vegas. Let's run through some bets here, guys. How about Joe Mixon? There's not many people that are bullish on Joe Mixon running the football in this game. The total rush yards keeps coming down. It's at 60.5 and falling. Todd?
Yeah, Hassel, you mentioned it. This thing has been moving all week long. I believe Caesars peaked at 64.5, and I can understand why. The sentiment surrounding Joe Mixon as a runner in this game is extremely bearish. You look at his last 5 or 6 games, and the performance against the Kansas City Chiefs, that's really the outlier, where he flirted with 90 yards and he was able to get himself going on the ground. He hasn't been an every down back for what they want to do offensively. They've run in predictable situations, primarily in first down, and you've seen Mixon's yards per carry really tail off over the second half of the season. Well, against this Rams defensive front, I think their goal is to make the Bengals one-dimensional. It's to put Joe Burrow in known passing situations so they can at least have opportunities to pin their ears back. Put me on that same bandwagon. I think Joe Mixon struggles to get to 50 yards. I'm more than happy to go under his rushing total at 62.5.
Yeah, Todd, I'm with you on that. But I don't think it's because the Rams are going to make them one-dimensional. I think it's because that's how they're going to play. You have to get the ball out on early downs if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. And I know they didn't do it against Kansas City early in the game, and I thought the offense struggled. I think they will do it in this game. Ball out, get the ball to the wide receivers, even if they're quick screens on the outside, and maybe even use Mixon in the screen game. But I don't think he's going to get a ton of carries in this game, so I'm with you. I'm going under the total.
All right, for pass catchers for the Rams, and really when you factor in the Bengals too, we're talking Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Odell Beckham Jr., Cooper Kupp. How about Van Jefferson, Todd, and his over-under longest reception in this game is set at 18.5.
It's been real interesting to watch the way Van Jefferson has been bet all week, Chris. When you're talking about his over-under receptions, that number sits at 2.5. It took money from professional bettors where he had to lay $1.40 at one point earlier in the week. His yardage total has hovered in the low 30s. But I want to attack the market that you just mentioned, and that's his longest reception going over the total. When you look at the season body of work for the Rams, through 20 games, Van Jefferson has had a catch longer than the posted total in 13 out of those 20 games. And those numbers are get even more pronounced knowing that Van Jefferson dealt with a lower body injury over the latter portion of the season into the playoffs, and there's no Tyler Higbee to fight with as the third weapon in terms of going down the middle. So while Odell Beckham Jr. and Cooper Kupp will command all the respect of that Bengals secondary, and rightfully so, there's going to be opportunities for the Rams working off of play action to take a deep shot or two down the field, and I really believe Van Jefferson becomes the beneficiary. I'm more than happy to go over his longest reception. 19.5 was my cap. I think he has at least one catch today for 20+.
But you know what? I thought I'd get to Super Bowl week and I wouldn't agree with Todd, but I'm agreeing with him because I think this is a great prop because here's why. The Bengals are going to do everything they possibly can to take away Cooper Kupp. Mike Hilton's been great when he's played against them in the past, held him to no catches, but he had a lot of help in that game when he was with Pittsburgh in 2019. They will move their coverage and roll their coverage to Cooper Kupp, and I think that's going to create opportunities, A, for Odell Beckham, but definitely for Van Jefferson. I'm with you, Todd. I think this goes over.
All right. Speaking of afterthoughts here, Sony Michel, my goodness, not expecting much from him. Todd, his over-under for receptions is 1.5.
Yeah, this one is a little bit juicy, but I think Sony Michel has a better opportunity to catch 0 balls today than he does 2. So I'm going to go under 1.5 receptions for Sony at minus $1.70. I know Sean McVay came out earlier this week and said they're going to trust the hot hand in the backfield. And while Sony Michel has the experience, having won a Super Bowl as a member of the New England Patriots, the picture gets even more muddled with the inclusion of Darrell Henderson. I just don't think this is a Rams team that wants to lean on Sony Michel's pass-catching abilities more than Cam Akers, who offers the bigger upside as far as explosion is concerned, getting out and making a defender miss. I think Sony Michel finishes today with 0 receptions. I'm more than happy to go under 1.5 and lay the substantial price to do so.
Again, I agree with you. I think Akers will be more of a play in the passing game. But remember, this is a defense that doesn't blitz a lot in the Bengals. They didn't do it against the Chiefs. They drop a lot of guys. It's hard to screen a team that doesn't blitz. But what you can do is you can check the ball down to the running back. So I like Akers going over his reception total, but I'm with you. I don't think Sony Michel gets 2.
All right, agreement here. Pete doesn't like it, but I think that's good when a couple of our experts agree. Pete versus the book, and it's tied up right now because you're picking the same thing. Yes, a little bit later he will face the book. All right, first team to take a timeout in this game. Now the Rams are a little bit juicier than the Bengals. It's minus 120 for the Rams, minus 111 for the Bengals. Todd, I've asked at least 5 or 6 different experts on this show this week this very same question on this very same prop. Nobody has taken the Bengals here.
Yeah, and I'm not going to be one that's going to take the Bengals either. Of course, there are going to be situations in a game like this where things are outside your control of a handicapping purview. But when you look at the Rams, it's hard to ignore how reckless they've been oftentimes with their timeout usage. Whether it's slow getting in and out of the huddle, it's Sean McVay deciding that he wants to try and be a little bit more creative. I think this is the kind of game where, yes, there's a chance that the Bengals won't be lined up early in the contest, and I can understand the appeal of taking them at plus $1.10. But I can't go away from an extended sample size where the Rams are a team that typically waste more timeouts than any team in the league. And that's not just this season. That's over the last 3 to 4 years. So I'm going to lay the price here. It, of course, isn't the best of the number on game days. This number opened at minus 125, but I still think at minus $1.40 it offers a little bit of value and upside.
And again, I'm going to agree with you. And for every reason you just said, Sean McVay likes to use his timeouts. The only caveat will be this. The team with all the young players and the one that hasn't been to the Super Bowl in the past is the Bengals. And sometimes nerves can get a team rattled. You might not get the play in. You might be forced to call timeout. So for that reason, I'm hedging a little bit. But like you said, the body of work definitely says Sean McVay and the Rams.
All right, now to a first score of the game prop. It's not the first score. It's the first Bengals score of this game. Todd, how are they scoring first?
Yeah. And this is why it's so important to read that laundry list of prop bets that Caesars offers up on the Super Bowl today, because there's so many different markets. And if you're not reading the fine print, it can get a little bit confusing. So to your point, Hassel, it's not the first score of the game for either team. It's the first score of the game for the Bengals. And I'm going to take it to be a field goal at plus $1.20. I know this price has been on the move, even down to even money. Some shops were as high as 2.5 to 1. But when you look at this Bengals team, it's hard for me to ignore how ineffective they've been when it comes to their red zone execution. It's a team that's consistently bogged down, and there's no reason for them to kind of push the envelope and take unnecessary risks when they have such a reliable weapon in Evan McPherson. When you look at the Bengals and their offensive output so far this postseason, McPherson represents 40 points of what they've been able to put on the board. So I think Zach Taylor, even if it's a 4th and short situation from, say, the 11 or 12 yard line, will be more than comfortable kicking a field goal. I don't see the Bengals taking a ton of deep shots either. And the nice part about this, just get us inside the 35 in a climate-controlled building like SoFi. I think Evan McPherson can be as good as gold from 50 plus. Bengals, first scoring of the play of the game, will indeed be a field goal today.
Make it 5 for 5. I think we talked about this earlier in the week, Chris. All week long I've said the first score of the game would be a Bengals field goal, and I think the first score for the Bengals will be a field goal. And here's why. They'll move the ball. They'll get into the red zone. Their Super Bowl nerves will take over a little bit. They'll come on in and take the field goal, and I think that's the first score. If you're looking for a real long shot, put down a little something on the safety. 2,500 to 1?
Now, why would you do that?
Hey, Stafford's been known to hold the ball in the end zone. Oh, wait, he doesn't hold the ball. He throws it for an interception like he did against Tennessee in that game.
All right, Pete Prisco, Todd Fuhrman here on CBS Sports HQ. And Todd, we're going to show the picks and recap them here. Todd is lockstep with Pete, or vice versa.
I'm with him. These are his picks. I'm in agreement.
Now there's only one plus money pick, and that's the Bengals' first score of the game to be a field goal. And Pete, you don't like field goal kickers, but you do like some kicking props in this game.
And as I say every week when watching games, make your damn kicks, guys. Make your damn kicks.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.